Welcome back to our fourth and final segment for World Suicide Prevention Day. I'm Karen Vaughn from 106.7 WTLC, and I'm bringing back two members of our panel. Miss Alice had another engagement, but we are rejoined today, Marcus Watts and David Berman. So thank you guys for staying on in our fourth segment powered by Eskenazi Health. Just really appreciate the conversation that we're having so far because it's needed and it's wanted, right? And we've kind of talked offline about what could mental health agencies do, right? What are they doing wrong? How can the outreach to various communities be better? And let me tell you guys, it was a dynamic conversation that I definitely wanted to bring to the radio and to you guys watching and to you listening. So David, what are your thoughts? What can we do to make it better?
I have no idea. That's where your listeners come in. Yes. That's where we need to do a better job engaging the individuals that are in crisis, that have experienced crisis, that are suicide attempt survivors, that are suicide loss survivors, had someone that they've lost to suicide, individuals within the communities that we're trying to serve, because there's some reason that individuals are not help seeking. Either we're not doing the right things or we're doing the wrong things. And we need better input. We need to do a better job asking the questions. As simple as, okay, I hear what you're saying, that, you recognize that you need some sort of help of some kind. Why are you not accessing it? What kind of help could we be providing to you that would encourage you to access it? What are we doing wrong? All these questions that we're making assumptions, which is the exact antithesis of what equity is about. The problem with the problem is that I think we make a lot of assumptions. The experts make a lot of assumptions about what people need, whether we're talking about communities of Black and brown people, or whether we're talking about kids, or whether we're talking about older adults, whatever it is, we make a lot of assumptions rather than asking the people that we should be asking, that would be accessing the services. We do a really bad job. And so I would encourage your listeners to reach out. Tell us what it is that we're doing wrong. Tell us what we're doing right. Tell us what we should be doing. Tell us what we should be doing differently. We need to know these things, and we're not asking the questions, and things are never going to get better until we start asking those questions.
So if someone listening now or watching now has thoughts and they want to give you a call, where should they start?
Well, I would say let's start with my email. I would welcome emails from you guys. And my email address is D as in dog, Berman, BERMAN, at MHAI as in Mental Health America of Indiana.net. Send me an email. I mean, these are questions that, we sit back as professionals and we say, why don't we know these answers? You know why? Because we don't ask. We have not bothered to ask. And so I'm asking, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What could we be doing differently? What would encourage you to access services? Send me an email, please. Send me 100 emails. We need to know these things so we can help to enable change.
Yeah. Marcus, for somebody that's, on ground zero and working with people 24/7, are there any questions or any thoughts that you would like to share with David to just broaden the scope of resources and helping various people in our community?
Certainly, I do agree with you, David. I think that is the approach that we need to take to get out here and ask the right questions, because I believe the disconnect in Black and brown communities is the end goal. Where's the reward? Where's the example that you could even show me of somebody in my family who's seeked help? It was beneficial. Their life changed drastically. Any of these things, because our communities are only known for broken homes, addiction, even the stigma of mental health issues in our homes and how those suffering are treated, the outlets that we have to provide for our families, even if you look at it on the ground level as far as jobs and opportunities. If I don't have that higher level of education, or if I don't have access to certain resources, then I might lean towards negative behaviors to provide for my family. I think those things correlate as far as what we're trying to talk about and figure out today, because if this is all that I see, if this is all that I know, and in some capacity it has been successful from our point of view, the people that live in these communities, our scope of success is different than middle America. So maybe this is successful to me, having a $50,000 a year job, even though my mind isn't right, but I'm taking care of my family to a certain degree. Maybe that is success for me. So showing me something that can resonate with me as far as bettering my family and myself, and how it can start to make sense, because I never saw that. My mother didn't seek help, nor my father. I don't remember my grandmother having a therapist. So, we kind of understand that things need to be addressed 100%. But I can't think of too many people who have examples in their families as far as those who actually went out and sought the right answers or the right resources, and it was beneficial.
I'll bet you have lots of stories where it went terribly wrong.
Yes, a ton of them.
And that's, I think, part of the problem as well. And then there's, the other side. We talked a little bit earlier about finding the right therapist or the right individual to provide help. It is okay to ask 100 questions if you want. And if you are, if you're encountering, and I don't care who it is, whether it's a healthcare professional or an attorney, whatever it is, if that individual is not willing to answer those questions, whatever they may be, then you move on. You have the right to ask those questions, whatever they are. Do you have experience working with people that look like me? Do you have experience? Do you have training in equity? Do you understand my culture? Whatever that may be, ask those questions. Don't be embarrassed to ask those questions. And again, if they're not the answers that you want to hear, move on. If they're not willing to answer those questions, move on. That's not the right individual for you. So we need to know as professionals what we need to be doing better. But feel free to ask as many questions as you want to find that right individual that's going to be able to help you.
It's going to take vulnerability on both sides. And being vulnerable is not easy. But I feel in this world of COVID that we recognize it more than we've ever recognized it before. Yeah. So it's brought down some type of shield of commonality that I feel sometimes talking to people that I don't even know, right? And having more conversations about mental health and coping and resources and individuals just being more helpful, right? So now that we are in this space, how do we take this space and build good from it? And that's what, this segment is all about. Marcus, you can ask David at this point any question that you want to ask. And David, if there's something you want to ask Marcus, right? You can ask this. We're talking about this right now, right? How can both communities merge to help each other, right? Because the more we talk, the more those barriers are broken down.
Yeah, 100%. As far as that goes, even with this past Saturday, I had an Alone is a Lie event where I got probably 35 people maybe showed up, and we sat and talked about the things that I felt like meant something to me and my friends and my family, how we cope, healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms, finding ourselves even, which is very relevant for the time that we in. And we had a 2-hour conversation at Voices and Fountain Square about, what we can do, getting advice from each other. My father being there and some of the older guys that I have relationships with being there, and they can talk about their experience, or my mother talking about her parenting style and the things that she was dealing with. And that's the train of thought that I have, because I didn't go to school for this. It's me walking in my calling and feeling passionate about what's going on because I understand it. So I can't really put people in the right room 100% of the time, but I do my best from my perspective. So when people ask me about resources, oftentimes I can only tell you so much because I'm not even formally trained and educated on some of these things. So I'm speaking off experience. And I think that's the gap that kind of needs to be bridged, because somebody like me or Aaron Green or Johnny Long, who are in the community, we don't even have all the resources that we need to extend the range of help that we could give. So it's even trying to figure out, where do I go to figure out how to build relationships, or what events I need to be at, or who to network with, those type of things, even for us who have programs and missions and actually holding events in the communities with the youth, especially, and getting our friends together, similar to what I did this past weekend. I still wouldn't know how to expand it without certain opportunities. So it's still a gray area, because it's only so much that we can do. If you go to a Struggle Made Me event with Aaron Green and it's less than 50 people, or Alone Is a Lie event where it's less than 50 people, that's successful to us because we never saw this. So it's different than somewhere that David might be, or Alice, where it's actual healthcare professionals on the same mission as us, but we just in two different places because we're unaware of how to bring it together.
You know what? I'll tell you, Marcus, it's no different for us either. We don't know what we don't know. We have a really, we've done a bad job in Indiana of having our finger on the pulse of what's out there. It's bad enough to not know what people need. It's that much worse to not even know what's out there. We know about some things, but there are a lot of programs, a lot of great programs throughout the state that are just kind of that hidden secret that we don't even know about. And to your point, I'm a mental health professional. I'm also a 2-time suicide attempt survivor. I have bipolar disorder. I mean, I've lived experience. I come from kind of different perspectives, and that lived experience in my mind, that peer mentality is key. That's what makes the difference. I always knew the difference between talking to a therapist that was in it because that's just what they wanted to do. It was a job, or they were in it, because they found the brain interesting, and someone that had lived experience. Uh-huh. Huge difference. That lived experience makes all the difference in the world. And not being trained, but having lived experience and being open and vulnerable is a hell of a lot more powerful than someone that has all the book smarts and all the education, but doesn't know what it feels like. It hasn't affected them personally. There's a huge difference. And so, you guys have 30 people or 40 people or 50. That's amazing. And to be honest, I mean, that we're kind of in the same boat right now. I mean, I'm happy with 30 or 40 people. That's right. And at the end of the day, if we save one life or make the difference in one person's life, I don't care if 1,000 people show up and we change one life, or 10 people show up and we change one life. It's worth it. It's worth all the time and sweat and tears and energy that goes into it. One of the other things, though, that that's totally not even remotely close to any of the questions you've just asked, Karen, is when we're talking about the haves and the have-nots and the competition for services now, and how that's change. And so when you think about communities of color and the disparities that were in place for accessing mental health services, healthcare services, whatever it is, and now the fact that you have a ton of people that are traditionally people of privilege who are in that same boat because, they've lost their jobs too, and they're in the same boat, and that have added to, the demand for services. I think it makes it that much worse and that much more of a disparity. And I haven't seen any evidence to show this, but logic tells me that, there's always going to be that preference for those individuals that fall in that privilege category. And so how do we best navigate that when there was already a shortage and a huge gap between supply and demand, but now you've inserted into the formula or the mix a whole bunch of individuals that have always been that middle class America that have been able to access services and the disparity hasn't been there for them. But now they're kind of in a new boat because this is COVID and it's affected the economy and everything. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with this, but I think that's another thing we need to consider. How has the fact that individuals that were typically considered, in a place of privilege, how has the fact that they are now needing to access a lot of the same services that have been affected by disparities, how does that, make those disparities that much worse? Does that make sense? Am I just like rambling?
100%. No, I understand that. I think branching off of that, my question is like, how do we find that middle ground? How do we find that middle ground? Because I'm willing. It seems like, a whole host of people who are willing, but where do we come together? Where do we meet? Because I still don't see it. People recommend that to me. You should have professionals come in and talk to people, and it's like, I don't know any. So how can I do that? I'm a one-man band with my friends and my family. We try to figure out how to make my events as successful as possible. But even me in the role of the leader, I still don't know how to reach up and pull back. So I think that's my mindset currently, how to get into these spaces seriously and help bridge the gap with me actually feeling like I still am, on the ground level. I've never taken a step above. So to feel like I'm still there working, I'm just trying to figure out how to bring all of us together. Like you said, if it's one life that we save, because two of my friends died by suicide 8 years ago and changed my whole perspective on things. So just trying to figure out how we can handle that with the gap that's missing as far as people that's still in the community like myself and you guys who are trying to get to the community. So that's just my train of thought with it all.
I think that's an easy problem to solve. Here we are right here. You will have my contact information. I will happily come and do anything at any event, and bring my peers. And that's something that we desperately need to do a better job of. And I mean, in any way you look at it, is better collaboration. I love the concept of collective impact where, you have different groups of people and different demographics, whether it's, occupational or whatever, who maybe have nothing in common, who come together to figure out how to work together on some sort of common goal and make a difference. And it's some really powerful stuff that can come out of that. But that's an easy problem to solve, Marcus. And, whatever, I will connect you to anybody you want to be connected to that I know, and I will happily help with anything. Would love to be a part of anything that you would let me be a part of. So there's one problem solved tonight.
There we go. We're gonna make some change around here.
Yes. Oh, I love it, guys. I love it. I'm glad that we had this discussion in regards to resources, but more importantly, we're all here on panels, right? How can we help each other bridge the gap? And I love the collective impact. And that's exactly what this has been today. And what a way to end that you guys are going to work together to help save our community, to help save those in Indy and beyond that need the help. You guys are just doing an amazing job. And I just commend you for not only doing the job that you do, but then taking it to the radio and joining us on our efforts that we do each and every year. So I look forward to joining you guys. If you need me for anything, hey, let's make it a 3-person band. Why not, right?
Sure.
So your next event, Marcus, you let me know, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Speak for Alice too, even though she's off. She will be there too. She will drive down from Fort Wayne, and that is her bread and butter. She loves to do it. So
awesome.
Yeah, let's get 500 people. Let's get 5,000 people. I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Socially distanced 5,000 people wearing masks.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Because we're going to continue to work on conquering this COVID world and having some type of normalcy the best that we can. And conversations like this help us get there, especially when we're dealing with our mental health. So thank you both for being on, David Berman, Marcus Watts, and Alice Jordan Miles, who had to step away for another engagement. Just thank you all for being here on World Suicide Prevention Day with us for this very special program. And those that are listening, those that are watching, we're going to have a number scroll across the screen, but also we want to tell you, you can text IN to 741-741. That's text IN to 741-741. It is scrolling across your screen. Also, right now, you can talk to someone. 211, that's the number to call. 211, that's the Be Well Crisis Helpline. The Be Well Crisis Helpline is 211. So give them a call or even pass the number along or the text number along to someone that you may have had a conversation with. Call them and check in on them, see how they're doing, and offer them this number to where they can receive help right now and talk to someone right now. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and the word that we are focused on is prevention and awareness and giving of our talents and treasures and resources. So thank you again, David. Thank you again, Marcus. I appreciate both of you. And thank you to Alice as well.
Thanks, Karen.
No problem.
No problem. And I'll see you both soon. I'll see actually all three of you soon. And for more resources right now, you can log on to our website. That's at WTLCFM.com. Thank you, guys.